It's not uncommon for a different variety of jobs to have one thing similar, and that is interacting with different kinds of people, whether this is your coworkers, clients, and even customers. Of course, some jobs require more communication than others, but communication is something that is important in any kind of job, no matter what you do, and this includes bartending as well. Even though I know nothing about bartending and have never been a bartender in my life, the thing that really piqued my interest in this spring season of anime 2024, and that is an anime called Bartender Glass of God, which surprisingly, when doing research on this series, I've come to find out that this is actually a reboot version of the original series, but of course the 2024 version is vastly different from the original version, since of course there's a new animation style and new people working on this series. But despite it being considered a bartender anime, it's actually more than meets the eye. When watching this series, sure, they do include what it's like to be a bartender and how the job functions and what do bartenders have to do on a daily basis in their job. But there's actually more as you watch on, because in reality, Bartender Glass of God is actually showing us the struggles that everybody who is an adult or has been an adult for so long has had to go through, when you start to really realize just not only how hard it is to be an adult, but also realizing the many struggles and hardships that you have when becoming an adult. Since it's not surprising that when you're an adult, you're going to have more responsibilities and you're going to have to do more things to maintain yourself. And sometimes it's easy, but other times it's something very difficult, and no matter who you are, you're always going to find struggles in your adult life, and it's how you're able to overcome these obstacles that truly shows us what you're willing to do to overcome any obstacle that comes along your way. The series first starts as just simply the introduction, as we get to discover a new hotel that is looking for a new bartender. And even though there are many countless bartenders, it seems that none of them are really the thing that the hotel is looking for. And two of the people that are responsible for finding the bartender that is good for the hotel are Miwa and Higuchi, who struggled to find the perfect bartender. But one day they heard of a bartender that's not only skillful, but he actually has a name and has built a reputation for himself, as he's being known as the bartender is able to serve the glass of the gods. And after visiting the bar that he is part of and seeing what he's able to create, not to mention that he's able to understand people and can tell the person's state of mind based on their actions or how they talk. He's that good of knowing every little detail of something or someone. And even though they try to recruit him, they will quickly realize that he's not going to be somebody that's easy to convince to join the hotel and be their bartender, as it seems that even though he is very good at making drinks and interacting with people, there's still some mystery with him as to why he doesn't want to accept the offer. It seems that he's very unpredictable and he has a lot going on in his mind that he doesn't show it to a lot of people. But with all that being said, they don't give up, and many times they try to recruit him only to be denied, showing that the task is not going to be easy. But despite all that, we get to see firsthand just how good he is at not only doing his job, but just simply being able to socialize with many different kinds of people who are all experiencing many different kinds of things in their lives, whether it's good or bad. He's able to understand that some of these people come to the bar just to either relieve stress or to take time from their busy schedule, or because the bar is the place that they feel safe and they can have peace in their mind. It's obvious that not everyone is always going to have a good time or escape the reality of the many hardships that many adults have to experience, whether it's so much stress because of the line of work that you do. Sometimes people just need a place to relax for a while or have somebody to talk to, and Ryu, this being the main protagonist of this story, knows this full well because he too didn't have a perfect life. But because of the teachings that he got taught by his master, who was also a bartender, he got to learn what actually is to be a bartender, and how bartenders in a way are also people that many people go to talk to about their daily life or the struggles that they are dealing with. Sometimes even these people can be a way for these people to figure out what they should do with their life or what decisions they should make. And Ryu made sure to take these teachers very seriously because he's able to keep an eye on how his customers are doing. If he knows something is wrong with them, he is not afraid to ask, But if they're reluctant, he's very patient as well and will wait until his customer is comfortable enough to talk about the thing that they have on their mind. It's these little details that greatly show that Ryu isn't just another bartender. He's a bartender that's able to sympathize and empathize with the people that he is dealing with if they seem to be having a hard time, and tries to give them courage or a little advice on how they should be able to deal with the problem they are having. And while normally it will be weird to take advice from a stranger that you barely know or have never interacted before in your life, sometimes taking that advice will help you out and would make your life a little bit more better. But sometimes Ryu isn't just only good at helping complete strangers, sometimes he's also good at helping people who want to become bartenders as well. The two best examples of him doing this is with the characters Kawakami and Chen. Both of these people want to be bartenders, but they're struggling since they're basically not only still new, but they also struggle to figure out what makes a bartender a bartender. Like for example with Kawakami, he tries to teach her that bartending isn't all about just simply being able to make good drinks, because you also have to understand your customer. Because at the end of the day, it's the customer who is going to drink your drink, and if they're not satisfied, well, not only does that make you look bad, but it also will make the bar look bad as well, since you're employed there, and this will make customers believe that this bar has no idea how to hire bartenders that are good at their job. And sure, while this was some advice that probably was harsh to hear, it was the reality that Kawakami had to realize in order to be a great bartender. And over the course of the series, we would see her not only trying hard to be a good bartender, but also studying as well to make the perfect drinks, focusing on every little detail, but also having the customer in mind. And then there's Chen, who's actually not from Japan, but from a different country. Chen seems to be very unpredictable due to him not showing a lot of emotion or being able to express it. He always has this same face, making it very hard to not only interact with him, but really be able to figure out what is on his mind. But we will come to realize that Chen is becoming a bartender to learn of customer service for his father's hotel that is in Singapore, the country that they are from. But Chen doesn't want to be the next person in charge of his father's business, as he's taken a liking to bartending and wants to continue with that career. The only problem is that he doesn't know how to express it with his father, but at the same time, he also doesn't want to regret this decision of not telling his father what he actually wants to do, because in the past, he wasn't able to do the things that he wanted to do, which are things that he regrets not taking any action. Like when he interacted with a girl when he was a kid, and he came to realize that just like him, the girl was also forced into a lifestyle that she was not a huge fan of, and they both were able to relate to one another, building a friendship. But when it was time to go, he promised her that it wouldn't be the last time and that they will see each other in the future, only for not that to happen. And when he finally decided to return to see the girl once again, he found out that the girl no longer was there, meaning that at that point, he will probably never see that girl ever again. Something that he regrets doing, as this was somebody that he was able to get close to and somebody that really understood him. So now that he wants to be a bartender, he doesn't want to regret this decision of not doing what he wants to do just to please his father. And even though it wasn't an easy task, and his father was very clearly not interested in him becoming a bartender, showcasing how sometimes our parents have a great influence of what we do in our lives, and it may not always be the things that we want to do. And this is exactly what Ryu tells him, as when he is given the plane ticket to return home. In their conversation, Ryu tells Chen that he needs to make up his mind and do what he feels is the right choice, and that once he makes that choice, he can never go back. So it's best to make the decision that he feels will not only be a huge impact to him, but will also be something that is good for his life. After this conversation, Chen decides to keep continuing his career as a bartender, meaning that he is going to go against the wishes of his father. But while this may seem like a rift between the relationship between father and son, that's not entirely the case, as later on, most likely due to his father seeing how serious he was about this, decides to call him and tell him that if he flies back to his country, this means Singapore, and show his skills as a bartender, making Chen really happy, as it seems that his father is finally understanding his dreams and is actually trying to be supportive of what he's doing. But of course, even though Ryu knows how to help other people out with their problems, doesn't mean that he also doesn't have his own problems as well, because just like anybody, nobody is 100% perfect, and they're going to have struggles in their life whether they like it or not. And Ryu is one of these people, as even though he is considered as somebody who makes perfect drinks, most of the time the reason why he's able to do it is because he does drinks for the people depending on the state that they are in that current time. However, due to this, that means his drinks are oftentimes very different from one another, and with his battle with another bartender who is considered to be the best of the best, when they are competing, Ryu loses, and that is because while his drinks are good, they aren't perfect, because unlike him, he makes sure that all his drinks are perfect and he doesn't change a single thing, no matter the customer or how they are feeling. Whereas with Ryu, he mostly focuses on how the customer is behaving and feeling to make that drink be special to them, instead of making it like it's supposed to be regardless of how the customer is. Which of course, it just shows us the many different kinds of thinking that different kinds of bartenders have when doing their job. Some people focus on making the perfect drinks and making the drink be, of course, always the same no matter what, while others tend to focus more on their customers and what drink best suits them and what is the drink that is perfect for that moment depending on how the customer is feeling during that time. And because of that, this of course makes Ryu not happy, but it will be Miwa who will tell Ryu that even if there are different techniques and even if bartenders are doing things differently, if he feels like what he is doing is the correct way, then he shouldn't change anything regardless of other people's opinions. But this wouldn't be the only time that we will see just how not perfect Ryu is. As we will come to find out about his past, we will come to find out that the reason why Ryu hasn't accepted the offer from the hotel and feels like it's somebody else that should be in that position is because he doesn't see himself as somebody worthy due to an incident that happened a few years back, where it's revealed that a customer was feeling down and clearly was thinking of ending it all. However, Ryu wasn't able to pick this up and wasn't able to help this customer out. So after the customer drank his drink and left the bar, he would later discover that after this, the customer ended up taking his own life, which of course makes Ryu feel guilt, as he feels like had he done something or said something that will make this customer change his mind, then the customer would still be alive and he wouldn't be dead. That is something that has been haunting Ryu for a long period of his life, and it makes sense why he always is paying careful attention to how the customer is feeling. He doesn't want another incident like this to happen ever again, and he doesn't want to relive that trauma that he had to deal with. So from now on, he's going to make sure that his customers are alright and will be there for them if they ever need help. But thankfully, he will be able to redeem himself, because later on, when he's dealing with a customer who is an author and is struggling with his work and seems to be having a lot going on in his mind, once Ryu interacts with this person, he's not only able to save this person, but be able to motivate him with his work and to continue doing it because that's his passion, as he reveals that before this he was on a dead-end job having to deal with nonsense with his bosses, and how writing made him feel better and took him out of all the stress that he had to go through every single day. But because of his interaction with Ryu, he now feels better and feels like he is going to make sure that he cherishes every moment of his life. After this, Ryu feels much more better, and it's very obvious that he is no longer stuck in the past and is able to move on from it. Despite the first time not being able to save a person who was struggling, this time he was able to do it, but also made the person appreciate his life and to continue living no matter what. This moment alone will make Ryu realize that even though he isn't perfect, and yes, people oftentimes make mistakes, he shouldn't just let that hold him of his potential. He is a very skillful bartender, and it's very obvious why the owner of the hotel never gave up on him and was just simply waiting for him to say yes to the offer. Is the reason why it shows that people view Ryu very greatly. He is somebody that a lot of people greatly appreciate and greatly respect. So because of this, Ryu decides to take on the offer, Not just to simply show people what makes him a good bartender, but why he is nicknamed the Glass of God. So overall, I really did enjoy the overall core message of this anime. It realistically shows the perspective that many adults have on their everyday life, what they have to go through, their regrets, their many experiences, and just the everyday things that adults have to deal with on a daily basis. Being an adult isn't easy, and it's a struggle that many adults have to go through, whether it's their jobs, their social life, their personal life. It's a lot to take in, and if you're not ready, then this is really going to severely affect you, and this could lead to you behaving, acting, or thinking a certain way. But you have to come to the realization that you are not alone, and while the adult life isn't easy, as long as you're able to overcome the many obstacles, nothing is impossible. As long as you don't take the struggles take over you, and as long as you're able to do the right decisions that you think are right and are going to change or make your life easier, then you should go for it, because we all have one life. So it's better to enjoy life and make sure that you enjoy every minute of it, no matter what. So that's pretty much the end of the video. I hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you next time.